for joining me on YouTube Live. I'm going to be on live on Facebook in a minute. I'll just try and tell that wee bit. You can see the scenery. And I'll go live now and then we can go on with it. Well, thanks for joining me on Facebook Live. I say 6 o'clock, but I can't wait till then. I'm so frustrated. And thanks to YouTube. And thanks as always to the sponsors, Cornerstone, Advanced Utility Solutions, Cleveland Systems Engineering, Ocean Lighting, Galaxy Blinds, Ultimate Windows, GRS Installation, Dovecot and TGM Cars. Well, Borough travelled to West Brom today looking for the first one of the season. The team, if you don't know the team, it was Dieng, Engel, Lenihan, Fry, Smith, McGree, Silvera, Hackney, House and Rogers, Latte up front. On the bench was Glover, Jones, Valeza, Jones, there's two Joneses now, Gilbert, McNair and Coburn. If you think we're a mum in a sun-drenched destination, it's only 38, not very warm. When I watched the Borough today, it rose to 50. Looking at today's game, we went into today's game looking for the first one of the season, and it didn't materialise. I mean, 4 goals conceded, a man sent off and no points is a very, very disappointing start. I mean, let's not mess about. This is a worst start. It was brought to my attention, worst start in 20 years. So we can't camouflage it. Obviously, players have left, Carrick chopping and changing. That's played a major part in the start to the season. But nevertheless, you know, 1 point out of 12, 9 goals conceded, 3 goals scored. It's a dreadful start. I mean, I said I'm not overcritical till 12, 14 games in. But the way we just capitulated and especially second half, we get the goal, 2-1, come out at half time, lose a goal within the first 2 minutes. It's a dreadful goal. It's one of them, I'd use the word fanning about. Engel, the left back, gets it, he plays it back. As a left back, I played left back when I was younger, was no good at it, but I knew when you got the ball, you try to play it up the channel as opposed to back to the keeper because you're looking for trouble. And we pass it back, it's played short, big man nicks in, rounds the goalkeeper. We get 2 players covering, but the big guy kept his cool and composure. Thank you very much. Delighted that Latte Laugh scored the goal. I thought he played well again. But my man of the match was Isaiah Jones. He was on for 30 minutes, 31 minutes. And he made he contributed more than anybody in the park. I thought he was very, very good today. He was back to the Jones of old. Jones of old was very direct, skillful, fearless. And he showed that when he came off the bench. His first run, he went at 4 of them and got a shot off. And then he switched wings and he came in for the right and he clipped one, beat the keeper, hit the left-hand post, very, very unlucky. But yeah, disappointing afternoon. As I say, worst start in 20 years. The one thing that jumps out to me, I heard a quote from Carrick before the game. For me, it's an indirect dig, because if you say it out there, you end up in trouble. When asked about the players coming and going, he says, sometimes things are taken out of your own hands. That was his quote, it's not mine. Sometimes things are taken out of your own hands. I've been stating this for years, not just at Middlesbrough. We concentrate in Borough because they're our team. Up and down the country, they're no managers, they're all coaches. Coaches are not in control of who comes and who goes. I say it every week on here, it's boring, it's repetitive, but you have to get that into your heads. So the pressure for me isn't in Carrick, it's on the recruitment. The recruitment need to get their fingers out and get a few players in before the deadline. They're the ones that should be under pressure, not Carrick. And although Carrick will be under pressure, 1 point out of 12. Bad start, bottom of the league. I'm going to get back over because there's loads of people where I've been chunting. Colin Fry says, our defence was an absolute shambles and Smith pulling the players back for... Yeah, you know what I mean. Slack defending cost us today. Defensively, well, if you concede 9 goals in 4 games, it tells you the defence is bad. It's easy defending over the years when you play 3 centre-backs and full-backs and the linesman's on your side. Now all of a sudden, that comfort's gone. We play 2 centre-backs and you need to be at your best and at your best every game. And today, we were backing off, we were half-heartedly going in to block it. Yeah, it was poor, it was a shambles. Slack defending cost us today, actually, Paul. Norman Shute says, this is not good, only what we deserve. Bowser again, no money. So, yeah, he's deflecting the stick, Norman, to the chief exec. We need to spend money, that's for Emily Cooper. Yeah, the 8 players were, you know, somebody's asked me earlier, what about the 8 players were brought in, how much do they cost? I don't think they cost anything. Obviously a weekly wage, but as for signing them for vast amounts, I think Latte Laugh was 5, the full back, the left back, Engel was 2. So I think they've spent 7 million on 9 players, 3 goalkeepers. Jones needs to start, gets the team forward. David Longstaff. The game sort of died for me when we the man sent off. When we Smith sent off, they just kept possession, sort of lost the lust to go and score another goal. Although they did get another goal, I sort of killed the game. But we livened up and we were more direct with 10 men than we were with 11. But Jones played a major part. Chris Fleming says last championship win was April the 19th. So I've heard people come back to last year, and that's what people are doing. The defending has been non-existent for too long. Carrick needs some backing with a couple of experienced players. Bam the Borough fan says absolute lazy performance from the players today, especially in the defence. Need to be more awake. Because of Gibson, I'm not going there, that's a bit political and getting involved in people's private affairs. I can't read that anyway. Daniel Baz, and I don't give a damn what I say, but that's a private one. Embarrassing when it's the last time Gibson backed a manager and recruitment being abysmal. I mean, I read a wee quote for Carrick last week. Carrick's limited in what he can say in front of the cameras. But I can imagine what he's saying. I bet he's furious with what he's been given and what he's seen going out the door. And I think his quotes indicate he's not happy. Without, you need to be a fool not to understand what he's saying. But he bought into it. He knew what he was coming into. The new game. Don't forget, Carrick's a novice, coming to Middlesbrough, first job as a coach. Understands the logic, and the director of football plays a massive part in who comes, who goes. Last year, everything went to... Well, it was fantastic last year. Everything went to plan. But this year, we've hit the buffers from the off. And there's only one guy going to carry the can. Carrick says last week it was a team. Well, he'll find out it's a team, because if we hit the buffers, there'll only be one man that'll leave the building, and it'll be Carrick. This is terrible. Million miles away from last season. This is for Wayne Matthews. We have signed a full bag of whoever is in charge of this recruitment should be sacked. If Gibson has give up on spending, it's time for a new start. Emily Cooter says we're Borough till we die. I get that, Emily. Worried Bernie can't lose half your team and replace with young, potentially inconsistent players and expect us to, as we suggested in Mars, to do anything in the league. Would take 21st now. Dear God, we're only 4 games in. Calm down, Jason. That's a bad start, but it's only what I expected. You can't expect miracles bringing in novices, players you've never heard of, clubs you've never heard of, no money getting exchanged. What do you expect? We've spent millions over the years and get dumplings. Now we're spending nothing. What do you expect? Guys that's going to come in and be absolutely fantastic. I'm starting to question Carrick's tactics today. I'm disappointed by this result for the fans who travelled, this is for Andrew Hill, to West Brom to watch this rubbish display by the players. Well, Warnock used to get criticised when he played certain teams, as did Wilder. And then the other side of the fence, fans would say, is Warnock deliberately playing a bad team or the wrong team? Is Wilder and Warnock both doing the same? Well, is Carrick playing that hand? Because he still picks a team. Although he's not in control of who comes in, who goes, he still picks a team. He's in control of that. Maybe he's trying to get a bit of light up to the top boys to say, hey, I need more than I've got. Carrick will walk before Christmas, Philip Jackson. Well, there's a few of my mates out here on holiday, and a few of them have said that he'd be lucky to see the season. Russ Boy Jones says we have lost £49 million worth of talent. Archer 20 mil, Ramsey 40 mil, Akpom 10 mil, Jails 5 mil. You cannot do that and compete for promotion. Yeah, you're only mentioning the money, Russ Boy, but what about the goals? Was chipped in, those players you mentioned scored about 50 goals. This whole team might not score 50 goals the way we've started. Paul Beckett says, not seen match stroke goals yet, but has read 4 shots, 4 goals. Do we need to try a different keeper? Well, hold on a minute. The keeper, the whole back line should have been ripped up today because they were backing off. They were allowing the players to shoot. You watch the first goal. There's a couple of lads half-heartedly getting in to block it. I mean, I couldn't keep chickens out of pen. I couldn't defend, but I think I'd have put in more of a challenge today than some of our defenders. So the keeper comes last. He did a Hope and Hill's chance. There was 3 of them top right-hand corner. Watch them. I think it was 3 in the top right and 1 in the left. Watch them later. David Campbell says, need to put some experience at good age, 25 to 27, surround the potential signings we have made. Players like Isaiah, Hayden and Ross Stewart. It's amazing how a lot of the fans criticised Isaiah Jones last year, saying get rid of him. And now he comes in and puts a half an hour shift in and looks at the business, and we're all saying, oh, get Isaiah Jones in. People blow with the wind. I'm not one of them, but... was Carrick making a point by putting 2 keepers on the bench today? Sean Calvert. Could be. Good spot. There you go. I mean, I'll read them out again, the team. I'll read the bench out. Glover, Jones, Blazer, Jones, Gilbert, McNair and Coburn. So, yeah, it could be. Sean. P.S. David Campbell says he loves the unicorn. Where's everybody gone? They're all shy. They're camera shy. There's loads here, by the way. It's not just me. The Borough fans are hiding. Impressive horn in that unicorn, Bernie, for David Purvis. Yeah, we knew that would sort of stick out. It feels like we're still in pre-season. Daniel Shell. Do you know what, Daniel? I watched the whole game, but West Brom from the off went for the jugular. Went for it, put us under pressure, pushed us up the field. When we get the ball, we were slow, laboured, predictable, pass. Try to take this thing out of the game. I get the reason, and try to just show things down or their pressure down, but it didn't really happen. Risby Jones, I thought all but one of the players you mentioned were not ours. We have lost 10 million. Yeah, that's right, the rolling loan, Mark Hodgson. We have lost 10 million talent too. Emily Cooper says, the keeper is poo. Should have kept Roberts. Well, Roberts for me was a guy. The local lad, Saul Bryn, nobody's looked at him. We've just put him on loan. He's won Player of the Year awards at 2 clubs. Came back in the summer and we'll just throw him out again. And I was surprised to see Big Coburn on the bench. There was talk about Coburn's going back out on loan. I think it's Plymouth. And yet he's on the bench today. Our forwards last season scored the goals to cover up the 3rd worst defence in conceding goals. I mean, when they used to rave about how good Karanka's defence was in the Championship, well, they were going to be good. They had 3 centre-backs against 1 centre-forward, maximum 2, so 3 against 2 every game. You should be good with an extra defender. Not that it matters, but was housing full for the first goal. I thought there was a push, not enough for him to get down, but the lad definitely laid hands on him. I don't think it was one of them. It was more a hands-on. So he did touch him in the back, if that's the rule. But I seen Carrick losing his cool. Tony Wedley says, long season ahead. If we don't bring some quality in, 3 top players needed, or it's mid-table at best, Bernie. So Tony's... Well, I agree. We need 3 players we go, wow, there's some signs. Statement of intent. For me, there's no statement of intent in the summer. As I say, novices, apprentices, guys we've never heard of, some of the teams we've never heard of. Don't get me wrong, we've did all that in the past, and some of them have been absolute garbage and spent and squandered millions, so I get that side, but the way we're going at the minute, we need something to boost us and make a statement. And a couple of Borough fans invaded the pitch today. Is that sheer frustration? I mean, it shouldn't happen. It's wrong. You stay off the pitch. That belongs to the players. Carrick's team was the team most people would have picked. We've lost so much loan talent that it's practically impossible to be Christopher Scully. It's impossible to replace him and the goals he gives us. Long slog season, unfortunately, by the looks of it. Yeah, but that's why you've got recruitment, to replace the players you let go. That is recruitment. If you're any good at your job, you have to do it one way or another. You need to find a way, find a solution to replace the guys you've let go. We got all the plaudits last year for the players we brought in. Ramsey, Archer, Giles, magnificent, truly magnificent, brilliant. But we need to replace them, and as yet there's no evidence we've replaced any of them. And by the way, the left back, Engel, when he's played it back, dear God, bad ball, hospital ball, keepers come out, he's went to the feet of the big lad, don't know his name, probably couldn't pronounce it, he's danced by him, left him in a heap. And that's the downside of playing at the back. We're not Man City, I've said this for years. And especially now, why are we, when we're not even confident, why are we playing hospital balls back to the keeper? Very poor, Bernie. Changes of the top before Gibble loses the fans, which would be a massive shame. Millionaire in a billion man's game for Stephen May. Yeah, well, look, we all know that Steve Gibson's did terrific, but he is a millionaire, not a trillionaire or a billionaire. Time for recruitment to save our season and do their job for once. Calm me, just simple, simplistic. As I say, I'm sure they're working their backsides off, but that's the pressure they're under. That's the job they've got, and they should be under more pressure than Carrick, because Carrick's letting you know with his quote that's saying that sometimes things are taken out of your own hands. That's him letting you know. Comes and goings are out of his hands. Trevor Chavo says this is a serious not going off the football. There's things more important. Sorting times, Bernard. We are now playing catch up on another matter. Deepest sympathy to John Brooks, friends and family. What a shock that was. I often seen him at the Borough games in the West Stand for Trevor. Yeah, anybody that knows John Brooks and his late father and John, God rest him. Both of them went to the game for years and years. I met John about 20 odd years ago, him and his wife and his daughter. I was at his daughter's wedding. I was pals with John. I knew John was bad for a long time, but didn't mention it because it was a private matter. Obviously, it's out in the public domain yesterday. My wife got a call. Just wanted, I put it on yesterday just to let people know that, to think of John and pray for his family. John was a great guy. I mean, he was charitable, thoughtful, grateful. Mind me a bit of Ali Brownlee. Trying to reconnect.
Keep talking because I'll take it on this one. Just put finish and I'll get you live. I'll do it live.
Oh, don't make him up again.
Go live. Post that and go live again.
Live again, let's see.
You're still on this one.
Still on this one, sorry, this one's packed in, so I'll have to get the lady of the place to change over. I don't know what happened to it. Obviously that's what happens when you're abroad, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Can happen anytime, anywhere, any place. We'll get it back. Anyway, yeah, YouTubers, come on, I'll read a few of these out here. Well, a few people have sent messages in. Let's see. Len says, what has Carrick changed since last season apart from the players going? Obviously, the loan players. Well, I've said this all along. Carrick, when he first came in, ripped the 5 at the back up, went flat back 4 and kept the same team in the main. That was one thing I'd have did years ago, was kept the same team depending. Hold on a wee minute, we're just going live again. I think. Oh, it's froze again. I don't know what's up with it. It's froze again. Anyway, sorry about that to the YouTubers. Yeah, I think Carrick's secret last season was the chopping and changing. He never did. He came in, got rid of the back 3 centre backs, went 4, played football, attacking minded, no too bothered at many he can see as long as he scores more, and kept the same team in the main. And the only time that the wheels come off was when we'd already made it in the playoffs, and then he started chopping and changing players. And for me, that's when we started losing it. And a lot of people are bringing it up that we've not won a game since away last season, tail end of the season. We didn't. Akpom, who was in fire, going for every. I'm just trying to get back on this. No.
Keep it going on that one.
We'll keep it going here because obviously the Facebook's packed in. Yeah, so that was, we're on, hallelujah, we're on. Sorry about that, we have to, apologies, but we're live, that's part of the gig. No, I was just mentioning to people watching on YouTube that Carrick, for me, last season he was successful because he came in the door, went flat back 4, played the same team, ban injury, and it went hunky-dory. Everything was brilliant. We're playing great football, great in the eye, getting the results, scoring more goals in opposition, and we were up in that top 6 for the majority. And then once he started chopping and changing the team, which he did starting for the Luton game when he dropped Chuba, it stopped again. The wheels came off, and that was the end of that. So just like this. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think there's any I don't really think there's any. I'll read a few of these out on the YouTube, but
Let's triple it.
I'll try it to put it up there. I don't know what's happening with that. Right away, I'll read these other ones out. The 2 goals we conceded first half were poor, and for the second half, dear me, Dan the man says, yeah, as I say, the first 2 goals were standoffish. They always had an outlet. They passed the ball around like we did last season, slick, accurate. They always had an outlet in the wings, but in the left wing was getting away with murder. He caused a lot of pressure for the right back. They were getting good balls in the box. But as I say, the pass back for Engel second half, because it was still 2-1 and we were in the game, was poor. Gio says, Latty Laugh looks sharp. He does. Latty Laugh looks the business. Yeah, I thought he was good today. He scored the goal, so the ball got whipped in for Silvera. Is that my name? For Silvera, got whipped in for the right. He got in between the 2 centre-halves. Great downward header. Great goal. Don't forget, he's only small. Great header, great goal. And then he did another one. The ball came in the box for the right. He's chested it. He's danced in between 2 centre-backs. He's turned and he's wellied it over the bar. Was very unlucky. Nico says 4 games in looking like a Wilder Warnock team. I mentioned that earlier. That's what it looks like at the minute. We look rash, erratic, frustrated. Composure seems to have gone. Joey says Carrick's interview during the week says a lot. I mentioned that earlier. Terry C, I don't know if it's Terry Cochran or just a Terry C. Nathan Wood on the move. Bernie, what about that? £10 million. Yeah, talking about Nathan Wood going to Southampton, £10 million. He's at Swansea on loan. I think he's played 40 odd games there. He was surplus to requirements here. We gave him away for peanuts, and now they're talking about £10 million. I think we get a few quid, something in the clause, but nevertheless, he's still I think he's a local guy and local talent. We're bringing guys from around Europe and we're letting guys go. Jacko says, Bernie, you have been talking about passing it around in wrong areas. That 3rd goal we conceded was farcical. I've already mentioned that, Jacko. And Ned says, Bernie, looking at the Borough, what about... Oh, no. Going off the Borough, he says, what about Spain winning the World Cup and the kiss that got the guy in trouble? Well, for me, I'm fed up with football getting involved in politics, agendas, rights, money, equality. I mean, all those are overriding the game of football. Everybody wants a moan now. Everybody wants to point the finger. It's a joke. Just go on with the game. Play the game. Stop waving flags. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. Stop saying you want to wear this. Stop saying he shouldn't do that. She shouldn't do this. Just get on with the blinking game. Honestly. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of the women's football. I don't watch it. I'm allowed to say that. I've said it before. I'm not against women. I'm married. I love women. I respect women greatly. But I don't watch football. I watch enough football. My life covered and saturated in football. I don't watch every game on the telly. I don't watch darts, don't watch rugby, don't watch golf, don't watch women's football. But every time I hear somebody saying something about the football, or women's football, he says this, he done that, she should get more money, she should wear that, he should do this, she should... What? Just get rid of all that rubbish and start concentrating on the game. I think there's more concentration and energy going at all the downside rather than concentrating what they're good at. And apologies if do you want to put out there and well, put out there that you can join me on this. I'm just trying to direct the other side. I don't know what's happened. Mick says, I see Chuba has not played a game for Ajax yet. Is there any reason? I think I'm led to believe that his work permit's not been cleared as yet. I think that's the reason. I don't think he's injured. I think it's something to do with the work permit. That's what I've heard. Paul says, Cameron Archer on the verge of going to Sheffield United. 18 million, what do you think? Well, I don't think it's a surprise. I mean, 18 million is a lot of money because Cameron Archer's still to prove it in the top flight or whatever. But he did brilliant with us. He looks the part. He's sharp as a razor. He's direct, scores goals, creates things. And he also goes on to say Ramsey joined Burnley for 12 million. And obviously we know about Giles joined Luton 5 million. All 3 players newly promoted teams. Good luck to them. We gave them the platform. I say that's the downside. We give them the stage, the platform, the shine, and then the shift and move on. Lucas says, what do you make of Carrick saying signing players for the future is the way forward for the club, not loans? Well, I totally agree with that, but Carrick wants instant success. He won't have a future. Warnock came out with the same dribble. All managers do. Managers stroke coaches don't have a future. They have to do it now. And they're only as good as what they get handed and who they keep. If they're handed duds and poor players, then they're not going to succeed. It's on their CV, nobody else's CV. So I don't really buy into that. I get the reasoning why the club's doing it, but for Carrick, it could be fatal. Bob says, I witnessed the playing iron steel going off the football front. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Any particular reason why you wore a vintage Borough number 9 shirt with Clough in the back? I say, Bob, yeah, Clough is my idol. I know the history of Middlesbrough. I know the Borough greats, the goal scorers like Camsell and Clough and Fenton and Peacock and Manya, all those. I get it. But Clough is the one that, as I say, last year I wanted to, if I could have lifted his statue out of Albert Park and moved it to Riverside, I'd have did it, no problem. But obviously it's very heavy. I'd need a team of lads to do it. Because it's surrounded with fence, it looks ugly. It looks as if Clough is in the jail. And Clough deserves a better platform than that. If it's going to get vandalised, time to move it. But anyway, nothing happened to it. I did put a wee thing on the social network, complaining about it, but nobody's did anything about it. Let them get on with it. If they want to wreck it, let them wreck it then. But for me, Clough had everything. His goals per game was the best in Middlesbrough's history. I know Camsell's number 1, but if you look goals per game, Clough's number 1. I loved him when he went on to management. I loved his comments. I loved his straightness. He wouldn't butter anything up. He was a straight talker, and I admire that in people, and Clough is one of those. Paul says, Caminaccio, oh no, I've read that, sorry. Where am I? I've looked, oh, it was the bottom one. Another one here. I see Carrick say the club is moving away from loan players. No, I mentioned that, didn't I? Somebody else says. No, hold on. What have you made of our 9 new signings, Bernie? It's a Frank. Well, I think I've mentioned it the last couple of weeks since I've been back on live. Youthful, inexperienced novices. I don't think I can say any more than that. I don't know much about them, do you? And don't look at YouTube and see one of them or two of them scoring a load of goals and say they're great, because I've seen numerous players come to Middlesbrough. The video clips of 30-40 seconds look magical, and then when you see them, they're hopeless. They're balloons. So I wouldn't be kidded with that. Anybody, I think, can get 20-30 seconds of good goals or whatever. Cammy, Bernie, what is your best strike force? Well, at the minute, Cammy, I don't believe there is one. I don't think any Borough fan could come out and say there is one. How can we say the strike force, who's the best? We don't know who's our strike forces yet. Jamie says, the way it stands at the minute, the whole team won't score as many as Chuba Ashpom. Well, you could be right. Tony says, why have we not brought in players from the lower divisions? That's a good point. Did we not look at the lower echelons of English football now, or Scottish football? Have we stopped doing that? We just go abroad. James says, Coburn gone to Plymouth. Well, he's gone to Plymouth. Only pressure. We must be bringing in a replacement. Yeah, I thought when he says Coburn's gone, we must be getting a replacement right away. Well, obviously Coburn's on the bench today, so he's obviously not gone. Maybe whoever we're chasing fell through. Matt says, Diallo, who did ever so well at Sunderland last season, including a great goal against Borough, surplus to requirements at Man United, I would think. Have we got a chance? Oh, Sunderland got a chance. Surely we've got a chance, Mark. Jake says, the backroom staff still lacks experience, as does the playing staff. Yeah, I mean, young Carrick's still a young novice, and Woody's still fairly young. Although Woody's been manager of Middlesbrough and went to Bournemouth for a short period. Tony says, if we don't get 3 players in, middle of the table finish. Jesus says, Saul Bryn, Coulson, Coburn, Kavanagh. What's happened to them? Well, Saul Bryn obviously came and gone again. Coulson is back, but he's not. He was involved in the first couple of games. Coburn's ready to move. Kavanagh's not had a sniff. So there's a few there. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm on holiday. The Facebook Live went boom. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. If you've clicked to YouTube to watch us here for Facebook, thanks for watching us. I'll be back again. I'll miss Monday. I'll not be doing anything on Monday. Monday off in my Total BS podcast, and then I'll get it rolling, and then we'll be back. Borough's next home game. But today, assessment of today, frustrated, off to a poor start. Goals we conceded were poor. We only really came to life when we went down to 10 men and we introduced the substitutes of Foz and Jones and company. And then we came alive, but by that time it was too late. We did get back in the game because we got a penalty. As I say, Letty Laugh scored a good goal in the first half, penalty second half. Foz converted that, 3-2, with about 10-12 minutes to go. And then all of a sudden they scored the fourth, and then it was good night Middlesbrough. So what's starting 20 years is concerning. I'm sure everybody at the club's concerning. But let's see. Hey, look, again, we have to keep things in perspective. We're only 4 games in, but it's been 20 years tells you it's been a dreadful start. So we can't camouflage that. Even the biggest sycophantic fool nutter out there cannot say that it's not a bad start, because the stats tell you, facts tell you. 20 years, worst start for 20 years. We're sitting bottom of the league, 24th in the league. 1 point on the board, 3 goals scored. Was it 9 conceded? Anyway, it's not all doom and gloom. The sun's coming back out. Up the border. Cheers. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the